Hello and welcome back to World 360. Why isn't Syria getting as much attention as Turkey amid the devastation caused by the earthquake? Did the Philippine president's recent visit to China achieve nothing as far as maritime disputes with Beijing goes? These are some of the questions we'll be answering in today's episode. So first up, Syria and Turkey. As you know, an earthquake struck southern and central Turkey as well as northern and western Syria last Monday. Rescue efforts are still ongoing as the death toll in both countries crosses 35,000. But if you take a look at your social media feed, you are probably seeing more content about rescue operations and humanitarian aid in Turkey compared to what you are seeing in Syria. Why is that? For one, this is because northwestern Syria is mainly controlled by opposition-backed groups, which reportedly the US supports, but there are also some areas controlled by Russian-backed Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Also, since 2015, the border between Turkey and northwestern Syria has been effectively closed to refugees. This means that those in quake-hit areas of Syria are not able to cross into Turkey where they can access food, shelter, or other humanitarian aid. Syria is also a complicated country in itself. A civil war has decimated the country for over a decade, and there are a number of foreign players vying for control in the country, like the US, Russia, Iran, and even Turkey. If we look at the areas in Syria hit by the earthquake, it includes government-controlled territory, areas controlled by opposition groups, and surrounding areas are controlled by Russian-backed forces. About 4.1 million people in Syria require assistance, with not as much humanitarian aid or emergency personnel at their disposal compared to Turkey. Even with aid being sent from Turkey to Syria, there are connectivity challenges. For example, there's only one crossing available to transport aid from Turkey to opposition-held areas in Syria. A BBC report compared the situation by comparing the frantic aid response its reporter saw in Antakya, Turkey, compared to the silence observed in the village of Basania in Syria's Idlib province. Political blame game is also coming to light with regards to aid operations in Syria. For example, the UN said that Syrian President Assad agreed to allow UN aid deliveries to opposition-held northwest Syria through two crossings on the border with Turkey for 3 months. But Syrian opposition groups, which have control over these quake-hit areas, have been upset with this decision, arguing that the UN is essentially allowing Assad authorization over aid deliveries. Some have accused the UN Secretary General of giving Assad free political gain. Let's also not forget that Turkey itself is home to a large number of Syrian refugees who have been fleeing the civil war over the last 10 years. There are currently more than 35 lakh registered refugees of the Syrian civil war in Turkey. Reports indicate that they too are being deprived of aid, and some have been accused of looting rescue camps in Turkey. Racist slogans like "We don't want Syrians" and "Immigrants should be deported" have reportedly been trending on Twitter in Turkey. To prevent rising tensions, many Syrian refugees in Turkey have claimed that they have stopped going to rescue sites out of fear of being racially abused or discriminated. For our second topic, we're traveling east towards Thailand, where a protest by young women has caught international attention. This is a picture of two young women in Bangkok. Both of them are in their 20s and have been on a hunger strike since 18 January in protest of an archaic law which harshly punishes those who criticize the Thai monarchy. Their protest has gained international attention, with the UN Special Rapporteur for Freedom of Association expressing concern over their arrest and continued hunger strike. Let's take a look at the law that they are protesting. The lese majeste law has existed in Thailand since 1908, when Thailand was known as Siam, and refers to an offense against the dignity of a monarch under Section 112 of the Thai Criminal Code. One could face 3 to 15 years in jail if found in violation of the law. Lese majeste is French for a crime against the crown, but does not exist in France anymore after the disappearance of the absolute monarchy in modern Europe. However, the law continues to be strictly followed in countries like Thailand and Cambodia. In Thailand, it is often used to suppress protests, and between 2014 and 2018, an estimated 98 lese majeste charges were filed. Though the two women protesters in Bangkok have been let out on a 1-month bail, they plan to continue their hunger strike if all political prisoners charged with this law are not granted bail too. For our last topic, we're revisiting an old pattern seen between Philippines and China, tensions over maritime disputes. But what's interesting this time around is that tensions have risen even after Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. recently went to China to meet Xi Jinping, during which both leaders stressed on the need for diplomacy and dialogue to solve territorial disputes. The two countries have long locked horns over the Scarborough Reef and the Spratly Islands. While China has offered to negotiate, Philippines has said these territories are non-negotiable and have always been part of their country. In January, Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. traveled to China for a 3-day visit to meet Xi Jinping and other top officials in China to improve bilateral ties. Despite all the territorial disputes, China is one of the Philippines' major trading partners, accounting for about 20% of its imports. Therefore, the visit was critical. China will work with the Philippines to continue to properly handle maritime issues through friendly consultation, read the Chinese Foreign Ministry's statement after the two leaders had met. However, on 13th February, it was reported that the Philippines filed a diplomatic protest against China for its alleged use of laser weapons on Philippine vessels. The Philippines Coast Guard called it a military-grade laser. The incident occurred in none other than in the disputed Spratly Islands in the South China Sea, suggesting that Marcos Jr. and Xi Jinping's meeting could have been cosmetic at best. The Philippines government has also so far lodged a diplomatic protest calling on China to ensure its vessels stop aggressive activities in the South China Sea. These acts of aggression by China are disturbing and disappointing, said Philippines Department of Foreign Affairs spokesperson. If we look at the history of bilateral relations, tensions reached a peak in April 2021 when 200 Chinese fishing vessels were sighted off the disputed Julian-Philippe Reef, also known as the Whitsun Reef. Beijing argued at that time that its vessels were taking refuge near the reef due to bad weather, but Philippines argued that there were military personnel aboard these vessels. The incident resulted in a war of words between the Philippines Foreign Ministry and the Chinese Embassy in Manila. Will the recent incident of alleged Chinese laser use reach these heights again? We'll have to wait and see. Thank you so much for watching. This is Pia Krishnankutty for ThePrint.